If your personal finances were treated like a business and you were in front of the board, would you get a pay rise or would you get sacked? Hey, here's the truth. Having done this now for well over a decade, working with over 2,400 businesses, I know that many hardworking, super solid business owners forget that their personal wealth is as, if not more important than the wealth of the business. And this never hit home to me more than I had a couple that were in their 70s. They've been working since they were 25, and they were getting to the place where they go, and they were doing hard labor type work. They had a big property, a large farm. And I remember them saying to me, I said, like, we want to retire. And I said, okay, well, are you ready to retire? And they said, well, we're going to sell the business and that's going to make us all the money. And I looked at that and went, great. But it was like all their eggs in one basket. And they've been running their business from feast to famine all the way through. And it was like this last little push had to be what's going to set them up for life. And I don't want that for you. And I've seen this happen too many times where people that are really intelligent, really hardworking, put in like a massive amount of energy, but at the end of the day, they're just really hoping that they get this amazing sale. It doesn't have to be that way. So what we want to do is I want to take you through what we've found to be super successful in helping people understand how to truly grow their personal wealth as well as their business wealth. And the key part of this is just understanding that when you have a business, you really got three businesses that everyone should have. There are three businesses. The first business is their now business. And what I mean by now is the business that generates the cash right now, the business that is the one that pulls in the money, that pays for the bills, that does all those sorts of things that we do right now. Then we want to have the future business. And the future business is, because the speed of change, the way it's moving right now, we've got to make sure that yes, this business is working right now, but with the speed of change, how do we make sure that the future of your business, it's going to be around as we go forward? Technology is going to change a lot of people's lives. So we need to make sure that it's right, that what you're doing here is going to work for you, not just now, but also is going to work in the future. And then the third part is your asset business. And the asset business is the one that I think most people forget. And the truth is, all of these are interrelated with each other. So what we want to do is think about these three things and go, okay, what can we do to enhance and improve those? The now business is where most of the trainings, the videos, the things that we do help on the now business. Now, having said that, if you're looking at the now business, what I would want to suggest on that one there is just think about that if you want to improve the now business, if you wanted to make more cash, there are just 5 ways that you need to do that, 5 levers to pull to make that happen. And we call that SERPy. So I'll go through that now. So what does SERPy mean? SERPy just means this, that if you want to generate cash in a business, that you can spin off to buy assets that you can also invest in going forward, that there are really only 5 things you can do to generate cash. The first one is to improve sales. Okay, great. So how do you improve the sales? How do you improve the profit that runs through the business? When you look at this here, and by the way, this is how our coaches, this is how we get trained. If we go, hey, someone's got a problem, they need more cash in the business, there are only 5 things we need to look at. We need to improve the sales. So how do we do that? We need to increase the leads. We need to increase and improve the conversion. That's going to equal the number of new clients. Then the new clients that come in, we need to look at how we can improve the average dollar sale. And the next thing is we want to go, how can we also look at improving the repeat business? So we get them coming back more often. And that's going to equal and improving your top line as far as the revenue that comes in. Then the second piece to help on that there is going, okay, now we've done that. Well, now what we need to look at is, well, what are the expenses that are coming in? Now, there's some obvious things that you go, all right, we just need to cut some expenses, look at better electricity bills, look at better insurance, and they're the normal thing. And the easy way to look at that is just look at through your profit and loss and look at through the expenses line item and just ask yourself this question. Two questions really simple. And that is it going to help me to get new business or is it going to help me to keep existing business? They're the two questions to ask. Is it going to help me to get new ones or keep them? And if it's not, you don't need that Gucci, flashy office thing or whatever it ends up being. Is it? You just ask yourself the question: is it going to get me new business or is it going to help me keep existing business? Then we look at those two there, and they're the things that a lot of people go to first. And I go, that's great. We definitely want you to do that. But the other two ones that most people miss is really making sure that when they look at their business, this is going to help. This is what you see in a profit and loss. But what people don't see is what they see, and this is the R, the P, and the I. These two things here, this is what you see on a profit and loss. These three things here is what you see on a balance sheet. And so what we want to look at here is what are your receivables? And generally speaking, when we look at most businesses that we work with, there's always some money that's owing to you. And when I look at that there, I go, well, if you were to get that cash in, think about that. You're just being the bank for the person that you've just done the work for. They haven't paid you. So you've already paid your wages out. You paid the cost of goods sold for that usually as well. And they just haven't paid you yet. So effectively, you're a zero interest bank for them. So what can you do to increase the speed that you can get the cash? The next thing is the payables. This is how the large organizations will do this. They'll pay in 90 days, end of month, and the like. Now, I'm not saying you should do that, but what I should say is have good terms with your suppliers. Like have really good terms with them. Discuss them and go, hey, if I pay you this time, if I can pay you longer, you want to decrease this one here and this one here, you want to increase the time. So these are all a measure of time. And see how you can do it in a way that's in integrity, but also just have a relationship with them. Say, hey, look, can I pay you 30 days in a month, but you can bring yours in as quick as you can. And what we're doing is we're reducing the cash flow gap. And the last one here is inventory. Now, inventory will seem obvious, and all the inventory is just time on shelf. So if you think about physical product, how long something sits on the shelf before it gets sold is a way to look in inventory. But the one that catches a lot of people, if you're in a service style business, your inventory is your work in progress. And so another way of thinking about that is efficiency, is how can you be even more efficient to get the work out? And that actually relates to this one on expenses. These are the two questions most people look at. As far as looking at their getting new business or keeping existing business. But the other one that's the little sneaky one that fits into the inventory is inefficiencies. So if you look at this, here and the expenses part there, how efficient is your team? How clear is the organizational clarity? Okay, so this here is a fairly detailed, that there just goes through and go, right, we now need to work on the now business. And we go, that's what we do. That's how you're going to drive cash flow in the business. You'll increase that. It'll also increase the multiple of business when you systemize that part of it. Let's look at the future business. Now, the future business is the part that a lot of people will miss. And that is, what do we need to be doing to plan for the business? Okay, yes, this is working right now, but with the speed of change, what can we do to enhance this one here? To enhance the future business, it's really quite simple. If you think about it, a prospect comes to you and they've got problems. They're at point A and they've got problems. They've got 1, 2, 3 problems. And you've sat around some marketing speak and you've gone around to different things and people said, oh, well, the only reason to be in business, there's a point B, is to have solutions to people's problems. And that is true. Whatever these problems are, you're going to have solutions for them, which is neat. When you look at the solutions that you've got, when you get a client and you're discussing with them and you're going through it with them, you're going to go, okay, well, they've got some problems. Okay, your methodology, your steps Your method is how you show that you can take someone's problems and you can create a solution. That's all well and good. And I think that's fantastic. And that's really first base. That's where most people stop. The only problem with that, though, is this relationship becomes a very transactional one. It's horse trading. You've delivered what you said, and most people go, oh, "Of course, that's fantastic. I've delivered what I said I would deliver, and surely people would stay and be happy with that." The only problem with that is that you're missing out on the future part of the business because the market changes. The ideal client evolves over time, and so what we really want to do, this is an eyeball, is we want to have an eye on the future. And the eye in the future is this point here, point C. People come to you because they've got problems. You solve those problems. But a big part of that here is how can you have a vision for your ideal client that's bigger than they have for themselves? And that is point C. And the day that your vision for your client is smaller than the vision they have for themselves, that's the day that they leave. That's they go, hey, you've delivered what you said. I'll go to the next thing. And you go, but I've got so much more I can offer. Okay, well, you got so much more to offer, but did you offer it? Did they know what the customer journey looked like? Now, so for us, people come to us because they've got clarity issues. They've got overwhelmed with all the things they need to do. They want a simple way to scale their business. They want to know how to have a systemized, ongoing lead gen machine. Okay, yes, we help them put that into place. And they want to know how do I build my team? How do I know how to recruit, onboard, train, but also how do I know the organizational structure? Boom, we do all those things. That's just first base. The home run really comes when you can understand the vision piece. For us, it's helping our members to create intergenerational wealth. That's wealth of money. That is, they're getting the wealth that they deserve. It's wealth of time, that they're doing the things that they enjoy in the business. And the third thing is a wealth of experiences or impact to themselves, impact to their economic community, and impact to the community at large. And so that's what our vision and our point C. So as you're thinking about the future business, what is the point C? What is the point C? That's a vision that's bigger for the client than they have for themselves. That's the second business that we want to have focus on. That then leads us into the third business. When it comes to my story of this amazing couple, they've got a very famous business, and that business, unfortunately, they had all their eggs in one basket. And with one bad season, the revenue and the profit isn't quite there. The asset business is the one that most people miss. And so what we want to make sure is that there is a percentage that goes into investing into these right from day one. You go, oh, David, I don't have the cash to invest right now. And they go, everyone who's said that to me goes, I haven't got enough cash. I go, do you have $1? And they go, well, I've got $1. Okay, great. You just start with $1. And the amount is not the key. The key is that we're building the habit. And it's the discipline of making sure money goes into this one here. Now, there are lots of principles around this, around how to do this, this part here, which I'll do in other trainings to go through understanding how the asset business is built out. But some of the keys when you think about the asset business is just making sure that this goes into a separate account that you can't see, or you can see, but you don't touch. So you're not looking at it every day, not like the account that sits here. So money gets put aside into this one here. And the rule that we use, I use personally, is that that money should be earning 14% or better a year. And you go, why 14%? Because with inflation and with currency debasement, the problem is that if you're not earning 14%, you're staying the same or going backwards. I'll say it another way. If you had $100,000 and you pull it out and put it into a safe at home, if you go 12 months later, that would be worth $86,000. That's how much our money is being devalued. If you question that, just think about 12 months ago when you went to the shops and you had $100 and you put the $100 across, how much did you get in your shopping trolley? Now look at how much you're getting in your shopping trolley. Most people, it's not nearly the amount that they deserve or they desire. So that it's very real. So when we're thinking about this in the asset business, is making sure you're growing this one here. One, build the habit first, then how to allocate this, how to make sure you put it into the right assets is another key part. I'm a property person by background, but there are very important cycles, and we have a 90-year cycle, we have a 45-year cycle, we have an 18.6-year cycle, and then we have the year cycle. Now, as it turns out, all these cycles are coalescing to have a pretty big downturn. When I say pretty big downturn, you want to think GFC on steroids. But the thing about that, which is, it's fine as long as you know it, like more wealth's created in downturns than any other time in the history of the planet. You look at the largest companies on the S&P 500 right now. The largest companies on here right now, all top 7 of them, were all built in the worst times in the economy. So if you understand that disruption, and there are disruptive assets, you know that as the cycles come around again, that you can invest in the right assets at the right time, and you can be the next big. Well, it doesn't have to be here. The cool thing about this is once you build this asset business, it takes the pressure off this one, the now business and the future business. So in a downturn, if you're building your assets, you're building this side here. And I know when certainly when the pandemic hit, we made decisions in our now business that was very different to a lot of other people. When they were offloading people, they were getting rid of things, cutting things back. We did the exact opposite. We doubled our team. And the only reason we can do that is because this asset business has been building and building and building. And it meant that if something happened with this, it didn't matter because there was enough happening on this. It was still happy days for us as we're going forward. So based on this, three action items for you to do is number one is know your numbers. And what I mean by that is know these numbers here: leads, conversion, average dollar sale, repeat business. The second thing here is look at your future business and look at your ideal client and have a vision for them. So write a vision. If it was your best mate, that's the way I think about it. If this person was your best mate, what would be the vision you'd like to have for them? And the third action item is looking across here and build the habit. Every week, put a certain amount of money, even if it's just $1, and you're going to go, I got no money. I go, everyone's got $1. Find $1 and build a habit and put that into a separate account. At least that's starting to build up. What you do with it, that's another measure. But the first part of it and the real bit that most people get caught on is they don't build the habit. So all you want to do is build the habit. These are your 3 action items that are going to help you to take the first step in reminding yourself around how do I grow, how do I enhance the 3 businesses. So if you like this is the part of our up-leveling of our YouTube video. If you love this, love to know what you loved about this, things that you love to have more of, things you love to have less. Leave some comments. Otherwise, I want to say thank you for putting your time into this. And my desire for you is that you do create intergenerational wealth because you deserve it. If you've got enough bravery, enough courage, you had that entrepreneurial seizure to start a business, to be involved in a small business, then you deserve to reap the rewards that are really able to be achieved. And I want that for you. And subscribe, make sure you subscribe so you can get more of these videos and we can help you to achieve that. Catch you later. Bye for now.